click go live and it's just spinning. Gone. Where's he gone?
He's disappeared.
Oh, hang on. He's coming back. Here he is. There's Eric. Right. Good evening, everybody. Hi, Eric, Wayne, everybody else. I've got to try and do this that we can see. I've shared it to the Dark Mirrors wall. We're still having problems trying to put this on the Dark Mirror. You can share it everywhere else apart from the Dark Mirror.
Gosh, if it's...
Well, she told me that's what you were doing because I've just gone and posted it to the Dark Mirror as well.
Did you remember to send the link to him?
Yeah, I've sent Josh a link. Hang on, he's just messaged. Hang on.
Oh, get rid of mine.
He sent him the link. Look above. He's gone, where's the link? It's already in the chat. I don't know. Right, we're live on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, everything else. Right, so this is all right then. Okay, let's go back to here.
Noted. Evening, Sarah.
I don't know. Right, let's put the chat on. Let's have a look.
Oh.
Right.
Why does it do that?
You can't find the link. Oh, for flip's sake! Right.
There's been a lot of messing about with StreamYard and Facebook lately.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with it. Like I say, I can post in anything else, but I cannot post in any groups. I can post on the Things Network and the Simply Spooky Network, but I can't post in on our own bloody show.
Are they down as pages or as groups? Because I think I had read somewhere that they're only allowing you to share the link into pages rather than groups.
Yeah.
Network, Simply Spooky Network, and the Things Network.
Yeah, but are they pages or groups?
I think they're pages because they don't have followers. They have friends, don't they? Ah, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Hello.
How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're all right, mate. Let me just turn the volume down on this.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Hi, Sarah.
Awesome.
You're right. Well, for those of you who are now joining us, it should be an interesting night tonight because I've said for a while that because there's so many different cryptids and spooky things in the state of Wisconsin, which is where Josh is and Eric is, that we should do a thing where they talk about all the cryptids in their states, and we sit back and go, oh. Please excuse my tomato-looking countenance. I went to a car boot sale and got burnt as flip. So I've got a job interview tomorrow as well, and I've got to turn up looking like a strawberry. That's interesting.
Foundation.
With my sweaty head, I'll turn out, yeah, I'd be good for this job because I'd end up looking like Alice Cooper. I don't know. So let's have a look. Where are we? We are on this one here. Right. Okay. So, yeah, tonight we're talking about the cryptids and all sorts of spooky fellows and things and stuff that Eric and Josh know about. And Mr. Eric is actually going to be moving over here to the UK at some point. Him with his magnificent beard and his DeLorean and his missus and his cats.
I wish I had a DeLorean.
I tell you what, I've seen... I've always said if I won the lottery, I'd love to start my own business where you get in all the replica cars and then, hire them out for photo sessions and weddings and things like that. What the hell's that? It was a disembodied voice somewhere. And,
What are you
hello, Mrs. Eric, and hello, Mrs. Josh, and hello, Mrs. Wayne, wherever you all are. And hello, my missus, who's downstairs and possibly coming up in a bit. I don't know. But anyway, Josh and Eric, over to you. Explain yourselves.
Well, Josh, you know more about it than I do, so.
All right, I'll take center stage, I guess. Like Mark said, we have a lot going on in Wisconsin. We're not just the drunkest state. There's other things happening here. First one I'm going to share with you guys is called the Pale Vampire of Graceland Cemetery. It was first seen before Wisconsin was even a state by a group of miners that were settling the local area and mining. Then we jump forward to 1981. Police respond to a call of a strange pale man lurking in the cemetery.
Was it Eric?
The officer on hand was named John Pepper. What he said he's seen was a tall, pale man, in a darkly clad clothes, so Dracula outfit. And this person was huge and very ugly. He was wearing a cape also. He was estimated that he was 7'2".
Jesus.
Wow.
When the officer went up to him, he bolted. He actually jumped a 4-foot fence into a pasture filled with bulls.
Wow.
So, yeah, the cops don't get paid enough to over here to, get trampled by bulls.
I don't get paid enough to do that shit. That kind of reminds me of the Highgate Vampire.
Yeah.
You went.
Oh, I'm not done with him yet either. Another 23 years later, police respond to an incident nearby of same description of a man heckling tenants by the nearby apartment complex. When this cop went up to him, he said basically the same thing, same description, and he bolted. And he got way away from the cop, like lightning speed. And the officer, he doesn't state his name, but what I've read was that he was actually ashamed to even go back and be like, this happened. He was able to follow tracks that were in the snow that led to a concrete wall.
Oh. Mr. Beard, what do you make of it?
I don't know. I've never seen anything like that, but I imagine it could be true.
What were you doing in the night in question?
There's still a little more to go with this guy, too. 4 years later, a young couple were fishing off the jetties of Liddon Lake, which is in that county. The couple were hearing a weird noise beneath them. They're out on the jetties. What it sounded like was somebody was climbing the jetties underneath, in the water. The boyfriend, what is his name? John Haynes, started stomping to figure, he thought it was like a raccoon or something. Just try to scare it off.
9.
Yeah.
What happened was that thing jumped out of the other side of the jetty.
What, at them or into the water?
No, at them.
So they went to scare what they thought was a raccoon, and this thing went, fuck you.
Yeah. And he grabbed his girlfriend and left all of his gear, whipped the flashlight, hitting it in the chest, and bolted to his car. And they got out of there and drove straight to a police station because it felt like they were being followed. The cops went and searched, familiar with the case. They found all of his gear, but his flashlight was never returned. And she literally said, he's like, that dude can just keep it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And that is our vampire stories of Wisconsin.
What do you reckon it is? Do you reckon it's real? Do you reckon it's somebody? Do you reckon it's a trainee mass murderer? Hi, Lynn. Hi, Rita.
I mean, it's possible. The really weird thing about the last one was that they described in that. Man, if I've been doing a lot of research on all this, but they described the pale face just like everybody else did. I'm sure we're all into Halloween. We've all had face makeup on.
Yeah,
that's not going to stay on when you're in the water like that.
Unless it's waterproof.
Have you ever heard of waterproof white face paint?
So, Eric, what
Yeah,
do you make of it, Mr. Banana Man?
I don't know. Like I said before, it's possible. I mean, it sounds like what is that movie? Where the kid gets chased down, he goes down into that like tunnel, and there's dead people down.
Has it got Billy Zane in it?
I think so.
Not the night.
No.
It's not in a cemetery, is it? And they've all got different weird powers and shit like that.
No, it's not that. It's the one where that creature comes to life every like so many years, and then
Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, Jeepers Creepers. That's what it sounds like.
And the thing is, it's been consistent over the decades, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Have any of you two had any dealings with it, or been investigating it, or anything?
No, I've never investigated it.
I mean, I haven't went there. I'm going to now. But yeah, I've had other guests on my show that frequently talk about vampires. It's very plausible.
I don't know if you remember, we were talking about vampires last week, and I still think energy vampires are a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think we all pretty much agreed, yeah, it could be a thing because we've all felt it. And it's like I said before, like sanguine vampires, could they be a byproduct from a bygone age, from thousands of years ago, and they've just stayed, pockets of them?
Yeah.
Or do you reckon it's just people with weird habits?
Right.
Either or. I mean, think about those that you watch. Like, what was it? There was one Doctor Who. Doctor Who did a lot of the aliens as vampires, werewolves.
That's right. Yeah. The werewolf one was good with Queen Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, Rachel, right? You know, my missus, she's mental on Doctor Who, and I never knew that because I'm mental on Star Wars. She's mental on Doctor Who, and I stopped watching it because I liked David Tennant. I thought he was my favorite Doctor Who, and there was a gap between David Tennant and I think I stopped watching it when Sylvester McCoy was doing it because I thought the rest was crap. And then she got me onto watching the one before David Tennant, all of his stuff, then David Tennant, and then the new chap. And I started watching all them, and I was like, bloody hell, I like this. I didn't think much of Capaldi, though.
No?
Peter Capaldi. No. And then you had the woman.
Yeah.
And now you got this new fella. It's not Tom Baker with the long scarf, is it?
No, I like him.
So what do you make of it, Wayne? What do you reckon about vampires?
I don't think they exist. Not in the sense that they've been written about.
Not as in monster. Not like that.
No. I think it's like having I don't know, like we said last week about the group of people being in the middle of nowhere that have their own way of life, do things their way, and not conform to mainstream ways of life.
So like living in Somerset.
So, you know, I think there are vampires, but I don't think they're these people that turn into bats and go out flying at night and sucking blood out of people's necks and all that.
Yeah.
I just don't believe in all that rubbish.
I think my own thing about vampires, I think that there definitely are energy ones, but I think there is another type of vampire, but it's almost, you know, you got the you know about the adrenochrome, and that's like their fountain of youth that the elites use. Something along those lines. I don't think they turn into mist and bats and shit, but yeah.
Like I sent you that picture. It was supposed to be like the one in Sandlot, and here's a parent picture of when he was alive in 1920.
Oh, bring it down a little tiny bit.
Oh,
right. It does look like He does look like the
tall
one
fella.
from
Nosferatu.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's a disease or an ailment that people are inherited with a blood disease that causes them to bleed really bad. But
hemophilia.
yeah,
That's the royal disease,
Mm.
royal disease, haemophilia, and there's also one where you can't make a certain part of your hemoglobin. There was quite a few cases of people like getting joggers and stuff in the middle of mountains and chopping them up and having a shake made out their livers and stuff like that. That was a real thing that happened. But it's haemophilia is known as the royal disease. And there was another one as well. What was it? The madness of King George. That was syphilis, wasn't it?
Yep. That's apparently what killed Alexander the Great and Capone.
Yeah, Al Capone went mental. He went mad because it was the syphilis that drove him mad. That'll teach you, won't it? Don't go dipping where you shouldn't be dipping. So what's next then, young man?
Of course, we have the Beast of Bray Road. I have a tiny picture. I don't know why it got so tiny.
Oh yeah, it's
Notice
a dog
the
man.
3 claws.
Yeah, we think it is, but
Now I know you two have been investigating this, haven't you, or at least collaborating on it?
yeah, we were going. I want to go and see it, and apparently there was a local paranormal group that went to it recently.
So what? Right, tell us all.
I'll get to it.
Knows about this, so tell us all about it.
The Beast of Bray Road was a bipedal, werewolf-looking creature. It was first seen in 1936 by Jefferson
Bipedal?
County's.
Bipedal? Does that mean it rides a bike, or does it ride like a unicycle?
2 legs. 2 legs. Could ride a bike. One of them little train.
I'm a dick. Carry on.
Anyway, was first seen by security watchmen / animal control. He seen it digging in a Native American burial mound. He thought it was a dog, but when he hit it with his flashlight, he saw them 3 claws and saw that it was much massive and it stood up on its hind legs.
have you noticed that we like to throw our flashlights at things?
Yeah, what's that?
Do people keep throwing torches at them?
He didn't throw his flashlight at this one.
It's dark. Shit. Run away.
He saw it. Yeah, he actually saw it and he fled. And this was the first of many reports that started coming out.
How long a time period has this? Have there been reports of this Beast of Bray Road?
1936 till currently.
Recently.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we have these over here, and I've actually started investigating one that's happened over here, and it was near a cliff path near here actually, and between here and Bridlington, and 2 ex-paras were.
There's another werewolf picture.
That's better. You can see it when you pull it back. 2 paras over here encountered a very, very similar thing, but they said that this thing was lying down squat in the grass, and when it stood up, it reminded them, the back of it said it looked like a hyena's fur on its back. But when they said that when it stood up, it was like 6'6", 6'7", and it looked at them, and these are like Liverpudlians, ex-paras, parachute regiment, and they're fucking, and they went, nope! And they legged it back to the car and reported it to the police and everything. So I'm just in the middle of investigating that one at the minute. That sounds very good.
The following year, a sighting occurred with 2 farm boys. They were camping on their farmland, well in the woods with their German Shepherd. They were playing out in the dark, playing in the stream, having fun. Things kids did before there was internet. When they seen something getting close to them, they made, there's all sorts of shit in Wisconsin, black bear, deer, but it got closer and closer, and it was bigger than any bear they've ever seen. They were terrified, pretty young. They ran to their tent with their dog, and it got closer, and the dog jumped out, and they could hear snarling and yelping, and they pretty much hid under their sleeping bags until it stopped. They went out, they found their dog, still alive, but ripped open pretty bad, covered in blood.
Poor thing.
And then have to do this part. Oh, yeah.
Bear with us, everybody. This is Josh's first go at like really putting his stuff for his.
Mark couldn't figure out how to do green screen, so
we've got the options here. I've got the options on my end to do it. So I tell you what.
Yeah, because you're the only administrator on here.
Send me the picture now, and I'll see if I can green screen it.
Anyway, if you're from here, you know. Linda Godfrey. Oh. She's the one that really kind of started reporting on all this.
Yeah.
Right.
She was a news reporter for.
Yeah, did she like do a whole bunch of stories on it in her paper?
Yeah, I'm getting there. She was actually a news reporter, and she took this on as a story, and it got so many people started talking to her about this that she literally quit her job and became a full-time cryptozoologist. She wrote many books. She's known as the mother of the dog man. She unfortunately passed away in 2022.
Hey, Wayne.
It was Linda Godfrey.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. She doesn't just do cryptozoology though. She has ufology as well.
Yeah, but if you talk to anybody, she is the dog man lady.
The mother of dogmen. That's a dodgy title to have because it's just not fussy.
I don't know. I looked at her obituary page here, and there's hundreds of people that are like, we love your work. No, we wouldn't know about Dogman if it wasn't about you. And
yeah,
I mean, remember the stigma people get about UFOs in the 90s. Imagine people saying they saw werewolves.
Yeah.
Aliens.
Which I think is what it is. I mean, even though people are calling it Dogman nowadays, it's got to be just werewolf.
See, is there a difference between Dogman and werewolf? I
know people say that, but have you ever seen a werewolf change?
If I'd seen a werewolf change, mate, I'd never be able to have enough pairs of pants to change into.
I've seen a man turn into a werewolf on TikTok.
Okay.
Oh,
there's also that race of dogmen.
Good old AI.
That's a whole nother can of worms to get into. I forget what they're called.
I think it's always been the same thing.
Stylomorphs or something.
A race of dogmen?
Yeah, the Greeks talked about them. The Persians talked about them. They could only communicate with writing. They couldn't talk back and forth. So we had to communicate the new written language.
And these ones, the race of them, they weren't trying to kill everything that moved.
No. There's even stories about them helping in the crusade.
There's stories about them.
There's a saint. That's a dog man. I forget. Is it Saint Michael?
I think so. I don't have the way to look.
He's always depicted as a dog, having a dog head.
Yes, that rings a bell. Yeah. I know the Iraq wars, both of them. There was stories of special forces going out there, and I don't know if they were what the hell are you cats doing? Pack it in. I don't know if they were interacting with these. What do you call them?
Dogmen.
No, they have a different name. It's Greek. It's like
Shamali tac-tacs. I don't know what they're called, but there is stories of
cephalahemes. I think they're called cephalahemes.
Cephalahemes. Okay. Well, there is stories about them dealing with special forces. I can't remember if it was they were helping them or tracking or something, but they were doing something akin to that. But it was all covered up, apparently, like the red-headed giant up in the Afghan mountains.
Yeah.
You know?
I got another one, a sighting in 2010. This one's a little more interesting. So the local group of football players decided they're going to go find Dogman. They 6 teenage boys armed with swords, knives, baseball bats and bows and arrows, crossbows, toting rotting venison, went down Berry Road in search of it. Unfortunately for them, they found it quite fast when they went there during the night. What they said they saw was a wolf that stood up on his hind legs, that stared them down with the yellow eyes, that made them feel like it was going to shred them to hell.
So let me guess.
It
They were
would take long for them to leave their bats and swords and bows and run back to their pickup trucks.
Yeah, good old boys. Hey, Aviv, I hope your Sasquatching went well today.
Yeah.
And please check your WhatsApp. So yeah, what and a good question, because it's not up in this chat. It's up on the chat on the wall, on my wall. Viv says the question is: dogmen and werewolves, are they two separate species?
I mean, it's possible.
It does.
It's definitely they never changed. They had hands, like fleshy hands, like ours.
But they've got like dog features and stuff, haven't they? Like what wolf features?
Yeah, the whole dog had bark even with each other.
But werewolves are, or any lycanthrope, are ones that change into that particular animal, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think
werewolves, wendigos?
Yeah. Do you think lycanthropy is actually a disease, but was left over again from? Do you remember when we talked about when the Anunnaki were about, and they made all the different hybrids of us, but they made like watchers that looked over us?
That's what I was told by the guy I interviewed and a couple other people too, that it is an actual disease, and that the native tribes actually have a sacred shaman who's like some badass hunter that takes care of these things. And you can they won't even talk to you unless you're full-blooded. Like, you could be your neighbor, you would have no idea, but this is what they do for a living.
So we're talking Grimm.
All like keep hush touch.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're talking Grimm. That's it, Wayne. You're very quiet. What do you make of this? It's unusual for Wayne to be quiet.
I think my cogs are turning.
Your what's turning?
Cogs.
I was going to say, Ellen, leave him alone.
I think it's with dogmen and werewolves. I think it's quite possible that they are a similar thing to what we have with Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti. They're part of the same species. They're related species, I reckon. So dogmen and werewolves, although physically they look slightly different to each other, I think they are part of the same group.
Yeah.
So they're a different.
I wouldn't say Sasquatch and dogmen are. I mean, it is very interesting though. I mean, so many cultures. It's almost like the same with dragons, with dogmen or werewolves. Every culture kind of has their own version of them too.
Well, Paris was plagued by wolves, and there was a legend of the Parisian werewolf, wasn't it? That was, and it's in our. Well, it was within the last 300 years, and there was actual witness statements and things written down about these packs of wolves that would come in and start ripping up kids and stuff. And there was one that was massive, and it would get up on its back legs and started attacking people, and it was known as the Paris werewolf.
Oh.
I know in World War I there was an incident too, where like we had a ceasefire with Germany because the wolves were like overrunning both us and them. It was like horrible. Like your buddy would be injured and you'd be fighting, and then you turn over and a fucking pack of wolves are eating him.
Oh, it's just what you need.
They were causing more. They had to do a ceasefire because they were killing more soldiers than the war was at the time.
So they had to take all the wolves out.
Yeah, so they like gathered together and went wolf hunting. Like they did a ceasefire.
It's ridiculous, you know. I mean, all war is ridiculous because, I mean, no one really wins. You've got all these people that end up, you know, without their family because they've been shot or whatever else. And it's just, and then on top of that, you got a pack of wolves, you know? Man.
Yeah.
That was the one.
That
thing
one
too.
World
Sorry,
War
go on.
That was Germany against Russian forces. They declared a temporary ceasefire and banded together to hunt wolves. The ferocious animals were attracted to the prolific and gruesome scavenging available in the war zone, attacking soldiers and civilians alike. But multiple newspapers in 1917 then reported on this story, including the El Paso Herald, Oklahoma City Times, and New York Times. And then since then, it's become a favourite bit of barroom banter among amateur historians like the powerful Joe Rogan. So I don't think so much about it being werewolves.
No, I don't think that one was either.
That was just literally the wolves in that area.
That's an
attracted by
example of how ferocious they can just be. And now imagine one that's like 8 times the size.
They've sat there and gone, we've got easy pickings here. Let's go down there and get some.
Oh, lads,
I got one last thing about the Beast of Bray Road.
When did go extinct?
Anyway, the beast has been seen by numerous people. Hunted. What?
Eric looked like he had a really important thing to say, and then he went.
When did the dire wolf go extinct?
That's what I was going to mention. Was the dire wolf actually? Good job. I think. Well, the dire wolf was supposed to have gone extinct just after the last ice age, wasn't it? So a few thousand years. However,
alongside the mammoths.
Yeah. However, but in our time, when Neanderthals and humans were about, direwolves were about. However, there's supposed to be sightings of them in the coldest, farthest reaches of the earth. But they're supposed to be
I thought they were just reclassified too.
Okay. I know in Russia in the last couple of years there's been one spotted, but
no, for real. I thought the dire wolf was reclassified. That they actually figured out it wasn't a wolf at all. It was like some other animal.
Really?
Yeah, like a massive badger or something like that. I don't remember. It was like they were. You know how much of it gets. It's just like theory when they put stuff together. The skeletons too.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the largest dire wolf skeleton they found was no bigger than a grey wolf.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was only about an average of about 150 pounds.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
So they're not classed as that big.
So it's a bit heavier than you, Ghost.
I think again you've probably got a lot of play with TV and movies have portrayed direwolves being these massive wolf-type creatures, 7-8 foot tall, when they're not. They're just the same as a grey wolf, which, I mean, they are fairly big anyway, but not as big as what they're being portrayed.
Yeah. Well, there's supposed to have been sightings of fucking great big wolf things in, like, all the cold climes, isn't it? And they were saying it was dire wolf sightings.
Yeah.
So maybe the trouble is, though, with everything that's thawing out in the poles, is this unearthing stuff, and they're reanimating some of these things, or they're taking the DNA and cloning it, or what? Because there's supposed to be so many different research labs down there. There's one down there that's got they call it it's long reach radar, but it's not.
I don't know. I don't think it's an isolated incident. Like I was gonna, with my closing statement, I was gonna read. Many hunters have seen it. Many people driving have seen it, eating roadkill. And the one thing that most people don't realize, this isn't just a Wisconsin thing. This is all over. And it's actually from like my area all the way up to Upper Peninsula. There's been sightings. Upper Peninsula, they have pictures.
No, there's loads of sightings of dogmen and werewolves. And
you ever see the one with it holding a dog?
No, I haven't seen that one. I saw the security cam one of a really clear bloody one that was a lot. I haven't seen the one with that though. Viv has an interesting question, and for she's in the other chat here on one of them, and it says, "See you later, Viv." I've heard about Sasquatch with longer snouts. What's that about?
Breeding?
Because I know dogs and cats are the only breeds that can interbreed. Are the only breeds that can interbreed with different variations of themselves. But I wouldn't have thought a dogman could hump a Sasquatch because, first of all, the Sasquatch would probably batter the living daylights out of it.
Maybe it's got
what's a dogman's
more
really
like orangutan
One.
DNA in it. I don't know. If you ever look at like the Japanese version of them, they do have snouts.
I know there's a Russian
Yes,
scientist.
they do. Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China. They had one on that.
Yeah, and they all have snouteds, but they're not wolves. They call them the great apes of the mountains.
That's right.
And
Yeah,
they were like,
from the monkey god.
But I know there's a scientist in Russia during the time of that initial attack when those kids that was supposed to happen in the wild when they were camping and skiing or whatever.
The Outlaw Pass.
Yeah, when he was taught, they were talking about there was a scientist back in that day that was trying to make or reproduce a Bigfoot or make Bigfoots. So I'm just wondering if some of these things are, like intermixing.
oh, I'm sure. I guarantee you we are playing with genetics,
Oh, God,
especially since Russia is trying to reclone them ancient warriors. There's like everybody's talking about that.
The ones that are from the steppes, the Kurgans, the same as that they talked about in Ireland. Yeah.
What? Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, I thought you'd frozen because Josh went, yeah.
Well, it sounds so like off. Is that just me and my end?
You're
No,
fine.
everybody's coming through fine this end.
Oh.
He's going to go and get a hammer and smash his iPad up. Yeah, that's the Kurgans. They come from the steppes of Russia, and they were like 7 foot odd tall, built like brick shithouses. Yeah, yeah, I know about that one. Yeah. But so, what do you think of this Bray Road? That's what I meant to say. The road thing that you're on about, with these sightings all across. Is it like the Appalachian Mountains where it's a huge place that goes along where they can follow trails? Is there a trail that goes up through all these places?
No, it's all farmland, basically.
Open land.
It's all open land, some woods, swamps.
What?
Wayne's dead. What's up with that? What's up with Wayne?
What's up? Me? What did I do? Look that! Jesus Christ!
Sorry.
What
Carry
happened?
on. Not very professional of me, is it?
No, do explain what happened.
Sorry, I broke wind rather quietly, and Ellen couldn't resist. She followed with a rather loud one.
Is that what that noise was?
Yeah.
I honestly thought my headphones blew. I was getting so pissed off.
It was Ellen Barton.
No, it was not.
Anyway, what do you reckon? This Bray Road thing, all these sightings that are always in one particular place and they go down decades. Do you think this could be like? Do you think they're family and their descendants?
I think it could be. I mean, you're in order to live, unless these creatures live to be 200-300 years old,
Well, I mean, look at in-laws. That would explain some dogman sightings and Sasquatch sightings. Anyway, what's next about the state of Wisconsin?
I have my favorite cemetery and one of the most notable ones, Glenbilla Cemetery. Probably not that big of a deal to you guys. This is the gravestone from there. But it is kind of cool for us because it's older than our state. And it's really spooky too. A lot of people say when they go there during the daytime too, they just feel off and eerie. It's been on unsolved.
When he farts, everybody feels off and says it's a bit eerie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know. You'd have to go there.
Do you, Josh?
It's not your average cemetery.
So what's that? What happens there? What legends are from there and stuff?
There's a tale of a man that hung himself over his death of his child there, and caused himself to be decapitated where he did it. We have glowing graves, vanishing shoes that reappear and disappear on one grave.
Shoes.
There's a bunch of children from when TB was a real issue.
Yeah.
It's
Consumption.
creepy, and they're like little tiny, like baby headstones. It's just, you always get a weird feeling from that. Friends of mine, when they were investigated, said when they were in the woods that was adjacent to it, like in the outskirts, that they were pelted with rocks.
Ouch.
How old are we talking, these graves?
17.
Yeah, 1730 something.
Yeah.
Because I know we've got over here in Scarborough, you've got, it's very much like that flipping cemetery in London, the really famous one.
Highgate.
Thank you. It's like Highgate Cemetery, and it goes on for bloody miles. But there's also a secret, a pet cemetery that if you don't know where it is, you'd never find it. It's all overgrown and everything, and when you go there, it's quite spooky. But it's also quite sad when you read some of the epitaphs, and it's like, oh bless, you know. But there's supposedly sightings of things there as well.
I think we have some over here too somewhere.
Pet Cemetery. I've seen that film.
Is that what
That
that is?
was haunted in Wisconsin.
So so far we've had dogmen, ghosties, and vampires. That was it, vampires. So what else?
I have another ghost one for you guys too, but I cannot alliterate. Glenville is a really awesome place to investigate, especially if you have people who are newer to it too. It's really cool. There was cult activity in the 80s that's been documented, so that's kind of a little creepy aspect of it. The police watch it because they're afraid of that ever happening again. And 90s, there was a lot of gangs that hung out around the area. But yeah, that's Glenville Cemetery.
Is that near you, Josh?
About an hour away. It's near where I grew up.
How big is the state of Wisconsin then?
This big.
Yeah.
No, it's not that big. Really not.
Because I don't get over, because over there you get states and then you get counties and that, this, that, and the other.
No, it takes you
get counties.
take a couple hours to drive one side to the other.
Really?
It's like probably 3 or 4. Well, I mean, we're not the tiniest state. Milwaukee's pretty big. Green Bay's pretty big.
Okay.
Madison too is pretty big.
Well, for us over here, like driving from, if I drove from here to my daughter down in Somerset, you cross through so many different counties, but it takes about 4.5 hours at the most. And that's from we're sort of 3/4 of the way up the country to right down the bottom of the country.
Okay.
Yeah, for us, it's like Scotland to northern Scotland to southern England is like you're going from one state to another.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Because we're so diddy.
Yeah, we're an island nation. That's why we have not been conquered yet, apart from the Vikings. So that was the most recent, was the Vikings, wasn't it? Well, Vikings, Saxons, the French tried to have a go.
Romans,
Germans tried to have a go. They got as far as
York.
Was it Jersey or Guernsey? It was Guernsey, wasn't it? They took over.
Jersey and Guernsey.
Yeah.
The only part of the British Isles they got.
Yeah, and then they had Captain Mannering and that on the beaches, so that was all right.
I got a little bit of a more spooky one for you guys too. This is our most haunted mansion in Wisconsin. known as the Summerwind Mansion. It was a pretty luxurious home. I've got pictures of it. Pull them up. But every person who's lived there since the 1800s have been forced out.
I'm sure that was on a TV program a while, but didn't Taps investigate that place?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
They were in Wisconsin a couple of times. And Josh Gates was in Wisconsin doing Beast of Bry Road. So.
Oh, I like Josh Gates.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
Here's another one.
So what's it supposed to be haunted by?
Numerous things. The first resident shot what he said was a ghoul, and that's why he left. He shot a ghoul in the face and getting out of his barn, and then he was like, "I'm done with this fucking property." And it's just been people have been plagued ever since. Mine I'm covering is a group of people who bought it, a young family that bought it in the 60s. Like I said, each owner who's been there has been forced to leave. They were told this, but they were so in love with the house that they were like, "No, us and my 4 kids can handle it."
It sounds like the beginnings of a horror movie, doesn't it? No,
Yeah.
we'll be all right. Won't be Scooby.
First,
And,
the wife experienced. Her name is Jean, I think. Yes. No, Ginger. First experienced chairs moving. Your classic dishes not where you left it. Her kids, from when they first got there, said they felt terrible. They didn't want to go in. They hated it. Like usual, kids usually pick up on stuff way more than adults do when it comes to that, which really interesting. I wonder why.
It could have
what
been.
did they report seeing? Because he said the other guy said he shot a ghoul in the face.
Yeah.
Doors banging, voices,
So there's
shadows,
a lot of banging going on in that place.
shadow people, one that's connected to this house.
Any ley lines or anything near there? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
I am not actually sure. It's right off. It's right off of lake too,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like prime property.
Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's around here too, by the way.
The young family started hearing voices. They started seeing shadow people. All 4 kids said they've never felt as soon as they get home from school or back from their friends, they would immediately feel like they were being followed and watched. Less than a month staying there, the newlywed husband, Arnold, who is not the father of these 4 kids, started to change drastically. He was a pretty normal, average guy that everybody loved. Kind of Ned Flanders type, as they described him, if you're familiar with The Simpsons. He owned a construction company that was flourishing. That's why he bought this property, because his friends could show off what they could do. But a month in, he just lost interest. He stopped eating. He stopped being pleasant. And
It sounds very
the
familiar.
creepiest part about it is he just started playing the piano one day, and that's all he did. He didn't talk to anybody. He didn't join them for their meals. He sat there, played his piano night and day until he passed out, waked up, let his construction company completely deteriorate and fall apart alongside of the house. So while this is all going on, Ginger's trying to take care of these 4 kids and remodel this house on her own. More time goes by. Arnold gets more and more violent with everybody. The kids believed this. Kids said they saw a shadow go into their stepdad, and that's when he changed, saying that they believed he was a demon.
What do you guys make of like demons and possession? Do you think demons are as red, or do you think demons are just a different type of being from a different
I think
dimension?
they're a different type of being from a different dimension. But then again, you got to look and exclude all that, that there is actually evil and good in the world. So
Yeah, everything is good and bad. Yeah,
I think malevolent spirits can inhabit a body.
do you think that these malevolent spirits are actually, as all the holy books say, demons and angels, or do you think they're like I said, like Event Horizon?
I think
like
there's both. Me and my friend that passed always had this theory that if somebody who's just a real piece of shit that just doesn't care about society, slings drugs to kids, shoots anybody he wants, that them sort of people ended up in a lower dimension and they would almost become one. And that's what was going on. But I don't know what this is definitely strange. As this is going on, Ginger starts to come unhinge herself. She starts taking naps in the forest away from the house because she can't sleep because of the voices. So they're leaving. The dad's just sitting there playing spooky ass piano on this organ, old ass organ that was left there. And mom's out breaking down in the woods, crying herself to sleep. And these kids are all, like 6 to like 8, I think. So you know what I mean? Yeah. Horrible situation. Eventually, Ginger just can't take Arnold anymore and calls her dad and leaves with the kids.
Yeah.
Arnold stays a couple days later and leaves, and nobody's seen or heard from him since.
Really?
So most likely, they believe he committed suicide shortly afterwards. The strange thing about it, after this all going down, her dad and brother buy the property and become obsessed with it and start hearing voices and getting strange and more violent too.
Yeah.
And they have this high hopes of turning it into this big bread and breakfast because it's out in the middle of the forest off a lake. They start getting weird. Jumps into the 80s. They're pretty much lost all their money from sticking it in. This place is no better. And one day, it just burns down during a lightning storm.
Really?
Some say it was Ginger, so our kids wouldn't have to relive it. Others say maybe it was the divine power that took it down, for the religious folks out there. Because it was ruled as lightning caused it to burn down, and I mean it's been around forever. It's weird.
Reminds me a bit of the Amityville.
Yeah. I honestly think they took a little bit from the story.
Yeah. The Lutz family, wasn't it? The Amityville one, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
And it burnt down in 1988. The foundation is still there, and people are still doing paranormal investigations. The odd thing is, a lot of investigators go there, and they say they have the same feeling like Ginger had and her dad, where they feel bad for it. They feel this need to fix it. They feel the need to just stay there, like their purpose is there, and it's just creepy.
Sounds like something's got unfinished business that's settled there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to disappear because I've got to get everything ready for me interview and everything tomorrow. Plus, I've got my dinner and stuff. And heaven forbid I eat on camera. But, I will leave you guys. Carry on because you're doing a good job, Josh. Don't worry, you're doing a good job, mate. You guys carry on and send me a message when you're done, and then I'll switch it all off. But I will speak to you guys in the week anyway.
All right.
Sounds good.
Right, I'll see you all later. Enjoy, everybody out there who's watching. Keep it up and enjoy, and I shall see you guys.
Can you see the comments? Oh, here's the foundation. That's what's left.
Oh wow, that's weird.
Yeah, yeah.
I can end
But,
it if you want me to. I got the same thing you can.
Oh yeah, all right, mate. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, I shall buggity off for a bit,
All right.
and I'll talk to you guys in the week. All right.
Good night, Mark.
See you later, guys.
Later, Mark.
Ciao.
Oh, there he goes.
Bye, Mark.
Can you see the comments, Eric?
I can see him. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got comments.
Hold on.
Is there any comments?
Sounds like you.
Yeah, I think it's possible that that could have been the case, that he's had a breakdown. And I think it's just that other things have got involved at the same time, and then speculation has set root, and they've gone, oh well, this is linked to this could be that, and that could be this, and it's generated this overall story that's now progressed through the years. Seems, it seems something out of a horror movie.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible that, obviously something could have, in a sense, possess him into.
It's very strange too.
Well,
there's no like in a movie. There's no physical damage ever. It's everything is psychological that's happening.
Yeah,
and you got to think of that happen in real life too. Like gas can make you nuts. Anything, any chemical or smell can give you headache, sound.
That's a possibility. I mean, this is just one of many owners of this property.
Yeah.
At this time, they're probably like the 20th, 40th people down from owning it. It's been around forever. And there's something too about a missing deed, but I didn't think it was that relevant. But there was a theory that they thought the first owner is the one actually haunting the property.
Could be.
Has something left behind, the one that originally shot the ghoul.
Well, I know experience myself that, especially if you get way back in the day when people were messing with Ouija boards and doing seance stuff, you can bring crap in too. So,
That's very possible. I mean, this place was around already during the 20s. I believe. It's very old property. And it was, at one point, it was a hotel also. And then it got retransferred into a home. Now it's just a big vacant lot.
Yeah.
With that foundation.
With just what appears to be a series of coincidences. I think it's just been the downfall of the estate.
Mm-hmm.
It's being struck by lightning. I mean, that could just be down to the fact that there was no lightning rod to disperse the energy coming down from a lightning bolt, and the place caught fire.
I mean, that's possible, but I mean, why now, so many years later?
I don't know.
Well,
and why?
The problem could be is a lot of Chinese whispers. Something happens and it gets spread about, and then over the years that story changes over and over again until it turns into something completely different, and then something else could happen there that may not even be related to what happened.
Ginger and Arnold both said in the beginning too, they had a lot of trouble. The milkman wouldn't come. Their mail wouldn't. The mailman would not put their mail in the mailbox. He'd leave it at the end of the driveway. He didn't, they complained about it. Town was like, well, you chose to live there. We're not sending him to your mailbox stuff. Delivery men refused to come onto the property. So, I mean, this place has always had a stigma about it.
Hi, Amanda. Yeah, I think it's like with a lot of places. I mean, we have a house near where I live that was supposedly the most haunted house in the United Kingdom, called The Cage. And I've investigated in there. And to be honest, I always knew it as a child. as being the most haunted house in the UK. But to go past it, you wouldn't have thought so.
Oh.
But when you go past it at night time, it takes a completely different feel. And when you look at a plaque on the wall that says the witch Ursula Kemp was imprisoned here, that sets the seed in your mind straight away. Then you hear the stories of what the owner had experienced in there. And then that just pushes it over the top. So it then automatically becomes the most haunted house in Britain. When I investigated in there, I found it as flat as anything. There was something there, but I don't think it was anywhere near as bad as what the rumours had said. And now nobody can investigate there. People used to investigate there almost every other weekend.
Wow.
But now no one investigates there. The woman's trying to sell the house. But I did a bit of digging, and the witch Ursula Kemp was never imprisoned there. She was there for about 2 hours before she was moved to Colchester Castle. So, and she was then, I think she was executed in Chelmsford.
Wow.
So, you know, and that's what happens when you've got the power of suggestion and the stories and Chinese whispers. Over the years, the story changes and evolves, and then all it needs is one little incident, and then people will automatically go, oh, that's probably connected to such and such that happened 60 years ago. And then that rumour starts again, and it's just been added to. I mean, it could be that there is a link, but without scientific investigation into the causes of everything that happens there, you're never going to get a certified 100% proof of what was going on there was in relation to whatever happened originally. But
I mean,
certainly
to an extent you can, though. If so long as you work along with I don't know if you guys do and you investigate, but when we did, we worked alongside of the town's historical society. So, like when our psychics were hearing stuff, we could cross-reference with the actual records and be like, oh shit, that really is that person. That's what happened. We actually were working a case in Galena where we figured out they thought they had a demon, and it turned out it was a little girl spirit that was just kind of stuck there who drowned in the 30s.
Wow.
But you see, that is a prime example of what I'm talking about, though. They claimed it was a demon. So, of course, if they turned around to other people and said, oh, there's a demon in there, it's really nasty, blah, 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 and so on, other people spread that same story. You've gone and investigated there and found out it's a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't have been
first owner too.
Truth, you know, and that's where the stories of what goes on there get altered and changed because you've gone there and found that it wasn't a demon, it was a little girl.
Yeah. The first original owner of this house was in the 1920s. He was some like rich monarch type that used it he wasn't even from Wisconsin. He used it as a hunting lodge with all of his buddies. And that's the one that went mad and apparently shot a ghoul and like drove everybody off. And apparently a lot of people speculated that when he lost the property to like the bank somehow in the end, and that it was like his pissed off spirit that was doing all this.
Yeah, which it could have been, you know,
yeah,
of a demon or something, you know.
But the shadow people, that's a whole mother like can of worms. Why were they seeing them?
Yeah, but I don't think shadow people that gun William was saying, that's another story that I think people say that shadow people are one thing, and I don't think that's what they are. I think they're just observing what's going on.
Possible, but I mean,
I think the whole how they viewed it as well, because shadow people can be seen through peripheral vision, and that's where your brain is filling in the blanks.
Yeah, kind of people say that happens almost like when you play video game and it's like the character's all black and then it
you're busy looking in front of you, but to the side your brain is deciphering what your eye is seeing towards the side of you, and all it needs is that little blank spot, and your brain is going to automatically try and fill in the blanks. And a lot of people see what they think. Oh, did you just see that? I just saw it out the corner of my eye, and straight away they've gone, oh, there's got to be a shadow person, or that was a dog, or that was something like that. But unless they're actually physically looking dead ahead and straight at it, you're never going to get a certified answer as to what it was that somebody has seen out the corner of their eye.
I like the idea that Ginger took it upon herself one day and just burnt that fucking to the ground. I mean, for her, if it is something kind, you know, is one thing, but in people's lives were ruined with this last one that I told you guys about. Them kids are never going to be the same. There's the newlyweds that completely separated. Arnold is suspected to be dead, you know.
Yeah.
And like I said, he was a scribe before buying this house like a Ned Flanders.
Yeah. It does make you wonder though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I've managed to find one as well, which I think it's quite comical in a way, but it's the the Phantom Chickens of Seymour.
Oh, Seymour. I'm actually like pretty close to there.
Yeah, apparently if you go to the intersection of Chicken Alley and Shady Road near Seymour, people driving through the intersection have reported that chickens appear out of nowhere and then mysteriously disappear just before a car hits them. But supposedly there's not many eyewitnesses, and there's not many paranormal investigators that will go there and do a full investigation.
Yeah, that's why I didn't cover that. Just like I didn't cover the Hodag.
But what has intrigued me now is, okay, yes, these chickens appeared and disappeared. They could have just been running across the road or something silly like that. But apparently there has been rumours that when people have actually stopped to look for the chickens, a disembodied voice has shouted at people to tell them to get out of the intersection.
Wow.
Nobody has been able to find where the voice has come from. So the chickens is one thing, but a disembodied voice telling them to get out of the intersection. I mean, I don't know the layout of
Foghorn Leghorn, man.
Chicken Alley and Shady Road, but you know,
That's a disembodied voice. It's Foghorn Leghorn.
If I'd have stopped there thinking, oh my God, I've just eaten a chicken, and I got out the car and I heard someone go, get out of the intersection, I'd be like, who said that? I'd be looking around to find out who it was.
I know, right? There's this one guy, he had chickens going into oh crap, forget the name of the town. It's right near me, and they would cross the road all the time. They would get hit all the time through there, and I had to stop and make sure that they cross the road to get out of the road.
Yep. So it was you, Eric.
Yeah, it was me.
You were there at Chicken Alley and Shady Road intersection, telling people to get out the intersection.
Yep.
That's case closed. We've debunked it. It was you, Eric, all along.
100-year-old mystery solved.
Mystery Inc. solved another one.
Well, you got to think about it, though. I mean, animals have energy. It's got to be around doing something somewhere, you know.
There's no reason why, if a human being, once the physical has gone and the spiritual side of that person can still linger on, there is no reason why a physical animal cannot have a spirit that lingers.
Yep.
Well, absolutely.
No reason why
There's many
not.
cases.
You know, it's we know of, and I mean, even Viv will say it. She's actually taken a photo of a man and a dog on an airfield. Now, we all know about dogs being probably the most popular sort of spirits to have been seen of the animal kingdom. But when it's, you know, it seems to be like that on a regular basis. So, you know, it's horses as well. Newmarket Racecourse. People have heard the sound of horses running along the training tracks, even though there's no horses on the fields.
Yeah.
So what was it then? But you can clearly hear horses' hooves coming down the training track, but there's no horses there.
Wow. So
So-
cool.
Energy cannot be destroyed; it can just be moved.
Yep. Moved or shaped into something different. I have a cat that my cat that passed on like a few years ago comes and jumps around on the couch. I can feel it literally jump down. And I'm looking at both the cats sleeping on the back of the couch. I'm like, what the heck is going on? That's when I figured it out.
That's cool.
So anyway, I think
Cool.
I have more, but I think I'm going to save it. Like I said, I could do a two-parter anyways.
I
I
think
the whole
another,
Bigfoot
I think another
phenomenon
one
too.
started on things already, hasn't it?
It might have.
Yeah.
I think we might have overrun by 10 minutes.
Well, good night, everybody.
So
Good night.
yes, bid you all farewell, and we will see you all next week. I can't remember what are you on any other shows this week, Eric?
Tomorrow we're doing dowsing on our show.
Ooh. I do like a bit of dowsing rods.
I get to play with both of mine, my crystal and my dowsing rod.
I've had some good communication with dowsing rods over the last few years, so that I might have to tune in if I'm not too busy.
There you go. All right. Good night, everyone.
Anything you up to, Josh?
Not really. Just still grinding away, editing my stuff. Thinking about starting up a live show, and I'll probably jump on TikTok sometime this week. So if any of you want to mosey on over there, if you have questions, hit me up there. Yeah, go to my page, you'll find a link to it.
All right.
And then, of course, we've got to the Graven back on Thursday evening. Not sure what we're talking about this time.
No idea.
And Friday Frighteners. I don't know what's happening on there because Lois don't seem to have come on tonight to let us all know. So just like normal, last to know everything. But Sunday on Wayne Seaton Presents Spookinori, I am doing another competition
Wow.
to win a piece of horror memorabilia.
Ooh.
Oh, cool.
So if you head on over to Wayne Seaton Presents Spookinori on Sunday night at 10 p.m. UK time, there will be all the details on how to enter, and you could win a piece of horror history. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but it's a piece of memorabilia from a very popular horror film.
Oh, it's not the gum you were chewing from your last.
So anyway, hope you all enjoy the rest of your week, and we will all see you again next week on here and through various shows throughout the week.
Have a good night, everyone.
Night. Bye.
See you all.